I used to go back to the office, fill it out,
That's not what happened.
bring my measurements in,
Sure.
and email. Well,
Bring up something.
the problem is, the 172 billion items that we have in the back end aren't there yet.
The time is 4:30 PM. Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 13 May 2025 is called to order. I'd ask those in our council chambers, if you have not signed the clipboard by the back door, if you'd please do so before you leave this evening. Also, everyone, please put their phones on vibrate. Roll call of members. Danielle?
Councilmember Steve Strand.
Here.
Councilmember Shelley Gummerner.
Here.
Councilmember Kurt Markgraf.
Here.
Councilmember Don Perrin. And Mayor Brent Frazier.
Here, I want to welcome each and every one of you in our council chambers, those joining us by Zoom this afternoon. Please remember our city council meetings are on the Pelican Rapids YouTube channel and also on Channel 14 on Wednesday evenings. A few announcements for the next couple of weeks. This Saturday, May 17th, is Armed Forces Day. Next Wednesday, May 21st, is the last day of school here in Pelican Rapids, and commencement exercises are on Friday, May 23rd. Monday, May 26th, is Memorial Day. There will be a Memorial Day service at Trinity Lutheran Church at 10 a.m. And our next city council meeting is slated for Tuesday, 27th of May at 4:30 p.m. here in the city council chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? If not, we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 is citizens' comments. Anyone in our council chambers here want to speak to citizens' comments if you are not on the agenda? Anyone? Okay, seeing none. Item number 3 is additions, deletions to the agenda. I have one addition. Item number 17. Riverview Place liquor license. Item number 17 is Riverview Place liquor license. Any other additions or deletions? If not, is there a motion to accept the
I
agenda?
move to approve with the addition of 14, Riverview license.
Is there a second?
Edition 17.
17.
17, yeah.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item number 4 is approval of consent agenda, which I'll read. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes from April 29th, 2025. 4B is library report from April 7th, 2025. 4C is approval of accounts payable listing. 4D is on sale intoxicating liquor license and Sunday on sale to Aurora Escobar, proprietor Tequila Escobar. 4E is club on sale liquor license and Sunday on sale to Donna Mattern on behalf of Gilmore Week Post 5252. 4F is malt liquor license to Luke Lorzell, proprietor for Paul's of Pelican, Inc. 4G is on sale intoxicating liquor license and Sunday on sale to Adrian Chavez as proprietor for Tequila Chavez LLC. And 4H is malt liquor license to Charles Evenson for proprietor for Southtown C-Store. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Okay, let's jump all the way down to item number 13, Park and Streets Report. We have Superintendent Brian Olson with us here this evening. Brian?
Yes, this evening we have, on the streets, we have, of course, hydrant flushing coming up. That will be this Sunday. We'll start at 7 a.m. We say till 3 p.m. We're generally done by 1-ish. We'll see how it goes this year. We've had a little colored water, but you will experience loss of pressure and probably some air or some discolored water for a little bit. Just run it and it'll be fine. Ian Fay, our mower for the season, started yesterday, and the other two park help will start May 27th, right after school gets out. Everybody knows the street project is underway. Traffic signals are out, and they are right now installing the sanitary sewer, and they will go up just not quite to 8th Avenue, and then they'll start with the water on that side. Then actually they're going to fill that road in, fill that side in, pave it, and then move everything over and start on the west side of 59. So it's going to be a month or two of this, I'm thinking. So getting our winter equipment put away finally, and summer out. So we're started mowing and doing all the fun stuff of summer, not plowing snow. Also, we've been repairing a lot of damaged corners and manholes that were damaged due to the winter plowing. Sometimes, especially the last plow of the year, it got pretty, things were a little soft, and we caught a couple manholes. And also, we're trying to patch some potholes. If you see one that we missed, don't hesitate to send me an email, because we've gone through a lot of them. And starting tomorrow, the 14th, 108 will be closed out to about 3rd Street. So 4th, the east side of Trinity Church entrance will be open, and that's how everybody will get into campground and stuff. With that, we will have no parking on the detour route, which is 2nd Avenue Southeast, all the way up to 6th Street Southeast. So we'll be installing signs right away in the morning for no parking. I did just let the police chief know of that, so I kind of forgot about that. But anyway, there will be signs there for no parking. So the streets, campground is open. We're just holding on to the bathhouse. Not, I know it's been 90, but if you look at the extended, it's a little chillier coming up this weekend. So we may or may not get that open. But I want to thank Judy Tabbitt and the Farmers Market Group for weeding and cleaning up the 2 big flower beds down in Veterans Park. They took it upon themselves to get that out, and we're going to supply some mulch and get that in there for them. Also down in Veterans Park, the VFW wants to move, and I believe we discussed it a little bit, not in detail, but the memorial wall that was on 59 and 108 West, they'd like to put down in Veterans Park. So they were down and painted some areas where they would like it to go. I do have to work with them a little bit, because we do have a sprinkler system down there, and we'll have to figure out if it'll fit there, or if we need to find somewhere else without disturbing the sprinkler system. So, and then on to the pool. Some good news. Pool's been full. We had training this morning with Aqualogic. All 4 of us were up there this morning. That was kind of walk in a little bit intimidating, but it actually got to be a little easier than we thought, and I think it'll be good. So we had everything running, the play features, the splash pad, the salt, the water slide, and so hopefully we have our Minnesota Department of Health inspection tomorrow. So hopefully we pass that, and we plan to open on or around May 31st. With right now, after all the testing of the hires, we have 11 of the 18 that passed the certification for lifeguards. We have our pool manager and 11 lifeguards. So hopefully that will make, I'm still getting some applications, and there may be another opportunity if we see we need a couple more or what we need. But I was very happy with that. So, and then, yes, we have 11, and then the area around the pool from construction, I believe, is finally done. They got that last drain that they needed to put in for the gutters. The temporary road easement and the road is in up there, and they've also hydro-seeded everything, and I believe after tomorrow we should be pretty complete up there. So that's what I have for you tonight. Any questions?
Brian, when they finish that side they're on, will it be 2-way traffic?
I don't believe so. I still believe they'll only, because the water is 9 feet there, and they'll have to, I believe, I'll maybe have to get back to you, Steve. I haven't.
It'll be one way
I
still.
believe it's still going to be one way because of the depth of the excavations they have to go. They have to have so much room, so.
Okay. I was asked today, and I didn't.
Yeah, I kind of,
Okay.
That'll be one way.
figured that, so.
Any other questions for Brian? If not, is there a motion to accept the Park and Streets
So
report?
moved.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Perfect, thank you.
Brian. Okay, let's go up to item number 5, Otter Express Joint Powers Board. We have Kayla Sullivan and Nick Leonard here this evening to speak to that. We have talked about this before, and it came before our council meeting last time, and we knew they were coming this evening to talk about that, and I believe they're looking for a decision. Can you give us a little bit of history of how it's progressing and ridership and such?
Your Honor, council members, nice to see you. My name is Nick Leonard with Ottertail County. The history, there's a longer, Kayla can tell you the history of Productive Alternatives. The involvement from the county has only been a couple months, but a couple months ago, we received notice from Mr. Skauge at Productive Alternatives, who's their president, that they're no longer going to provide public transportation in Ottertail County. They've done that for about 20 years. They have the contract with MnDOT. The way public transportation happens is basically MnDOT says we'll cover 90–95% depending on the year, but some local entity, whether it's a corporation, a nonprofit, or a joint powers, or in some cases, government itself. Becker County, for example, it happens through the county. But somebody has to be that entity that says we'll take it on. So it's usually a 90-10, 95-5 match. So we received that notice. At a county level, we said, well, is this important, right, to the public? The feedback we received from both the cities but also from constituents was, yeah, there's a lot of people that use this service. I know it's newer in Pelican Rapids. But so then the consensus was, all right, so there's not enough time. And the reason that there's some urgency is that the date that MnDOT requires that grant application is the end of June to meet their state fiscal year. And so in order for us to be in a position where the county or the city of Pelican or any of us could have public transportation next year, we have to get an application into MnDOT by the end of June. So there's a little bit of a scramble. We understand that this is very rough joint powers board and a joint powers agreement that probably will require lots of modifications in the next several years. But in order to make sure we meet that grant deadline, we pulled this together, starting with our 3 largest cities and those that have said, hey, yeah, we're interested. But the intent would be, I guess our hope would be, that this would be expanded over time to add additional cities as the Joint Powers Board deems appropriate. So that's a little bit of the background. That's how the county got involved, and we said, we're happy to keep working, moving this, facilitating this process. But our deadline is end of June in order to be able to make an application to MnDOT. And by our, I mean the Joint Powers Board is deadline. And so that's really the only urgency as we see it. And Ms. Sullivan can certainly, she's been with Productive Alternatives and oversees the transportation, and I don't know if you have.
Right. Yeah, you, actually, Nick summarized it very well, and I think I gave the history the last time I was here about Productive Alternatives, so I can rehash that if you want me to, but I don't know if you have any more specific questions, because Nick did a great job already.
How has the ridership been from Pelican Rapids?
Pelican. So we started here, it was about the second week in February of this year. And it hasn't been a lot, but it's been about, I think, 25 total. There's been a few from the nursing home to go locally in town here, and then there's been a few other people that have gone to Fergus on the Friday trip to go shopping there and back here to Pelican. So it's been about 25, and I've been working hard at it. I've been in the newspaper here every week, advertising for the service and coming here in person, like to the grocery store and just talking to people too. So it does take a little while for a new community to get ridership growing.
How many players do you have at the table now?
So
Accepted the,
Your Honor, council members, currently the city of Perham, the city of Fergus Falls, And the county said we would step in the short term, or, as long as there's interest by our city partners, the county will be at the table. I think long-term, our hope is that it will grow across the county so other cities can start to participate. But, so far, there's been City of Fergus, City of Perham, and Ottertail County who've all committed. A lot of the questions that I've received have been, or comments, and have been around, we want to see this, or we want to see longer hours, or we wish there were more buses. And so my feedback has been, this is a brand-new joint powers. We didn't have, no offense to Kayla and Productive Alternatives, but we had no input, frankly. I mean, we could tell Productive Alternatives that we're unhappy with this, or we wish that you picked up here. But at the end of the day, it was a private entity that we didn't have control over. The benefit and the reason the county board was supportive of this is because if a city's interested, or if, we want to have input, or we want to see 2 buses or longer hours, the Joint Powers Board now has influence over that. And so that's really been kind of my response as cities have started to talk about this, is if you have concerns or want to see this program grow, being part of that Joint Powers Board will be necessary.
Which communities are you in right now that would not be part of this board?
We're in Breckenridge, in Wilkin County, and we started in Barnesville and Clay County the same time we started here, and actually no ridership yet there either, and also in Battle Lake in Ottertail County.
And the feedback has been the city. We talked about, do we expand the joint powers immediately to those the feedback from the other communities was, we need to start with our local communities first. If those other cities outside of Ottertail County want service, we can provide it to them via contract, but we want to make sure locally that the Ottertail County cities and this Joint Powers Board work together to decide what do we want locally, and then we can expand the board as this group kind of develops. But they can still provide that service, but it'll be a fee for service via some type of contract.
We haven't begun our 2026 budget meetings yet, so, this would be a first step, hearing about this, and if we did move forward. I think Administrator Roysum got some news this week that the state legislature may cut LGA to us. So that'd be a significant blow. Lance, you want to comment on that?
Well, there's talk of it in a Senate bill that they would cut about 3% of our LGA in the omnibus tax bill. In the House side, it's not in there, so whenever that comes together, I don't know how it's all going to hash out, but it's a possibility that 3%, which would be 35,000 roughly from our LGA, would be cut, but that's all up in the air right now.
What was the buy-in, if you can, to become part of the joint powers? Has that been shaken out at all?
Your Honor, Council Member, it was, and this again was just working with, all right, what can we do to get that match? It was via the joint powers agreement, it was 50 was going to be the share by Fergus Falls, 20 by Pelican and Perham, and then Ottertail County was going to use transportation dollars in the amount of $110,000 for 2026. So that gets us to that, if my math's right, $200,000 for that match. And the question has been, well, what happens if we don't, if a community is not able to, and Kayla and I haven't talked about this, but I suspect we'll probably just have to reduce the amount of our grant request. Is that, because the other cities have said, this is what our ceiling is. I don't think the county has an appetite to grow that at this point, and so would the just match be that much less?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. I would just have to reduce my budget by X number of dollars.
And that would be less service then, overall?
It could be potentially, yes. Yes.
I have a question, Mayor.
Mr. Trim.
How many buses are there?
Your Honor and council members, we have 18 in our fleet right now. We have typically about 8 daily in Fergus, one in Perham, one in Breckenridge, and I'm missing one. And then we have one dedicated to Pelican, Barnesville, and Battle Lake as needed. But, this could, like, if you decided to be a part of the Joint Powers Board, you guys would have a vote, and you could say, well, we want one bus dedicated in Pelican from these days for these hours.
Are they all the same size?
No.
They look, ones I've seen are pretty big.
Yep, most of them are, but it's called a Class 400 series, and then we have a couple that are 500 series. So the 400s typically, and depending on the number of wheelchair spots, typically range from 14 to 18, and our biggest buses can hold about 28.
We could say we wanted it, but that doesn't necessarily mean we'd get it, because
Well,
the board would vote on it.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Your Honor, council members, it would be a representative from Pelican, based on how it's written. A representative from Pelican, 2 from Fergus, 1 from Perham, and then 3 Ottertail County. And so one of the things the board has talked about is, does that be a couple commissioners and potentially a staff person that understands the usage, whether that's through transportation or whether that's through human services, that knows who are the clientele that are utilizing these. So to your point, there is no guarantee, and I certainly won't be a member of the Joint Powers Board, but if I was on that Joint Powers Board, my focus would be on how do we make sure that we have, to your point, 18 buses. We're going to focus our energy on those communities that have decided that they want to step up, put skin in the game to have public transportation. So I can't imagine that Joint Powers Board would say, hey, we should serve this community over here who's not represented on the board until they feel like they've been adequately represented.
If we decline this evening, there's still an opportunity in the future to join.
Once the Joint Powers Board is formed, the nice thing is I can move this on to somebody else's plate. But the Joint Powers Board, I assume, and I certainly hope, will grow, right? I mean, Parker's Prairie has said, we'd like to eventually grow services out there. Battle Lake, I know, is another community that's so, and I wish that we had time to build that network now. Unfortunately, given how little time we have to get this grant together, I just said we have to pull together a group that can work together, and then once it's been formed, they can then invite other people and other communities in subsequent years.
Council, questions?
What, do we know our cost estimate?
Our cost?
20%.
20,000, 20,000, yep.
Well, you were talking before, I mean, are they locking in 20,000 right now if you join the Joint Powers? But it's going to be ultimately up to the Joint Powers Board how much each entity is going to contribute? Or is that set in stone if they're agreeing to it right now?
Your Honor, council members and Administrator Lance, I believe that you can answer this, but I believe that once you've committed, MnDOT wants to know that those dollars are committed for the grant.
Yes, that is 100% correct.
Okay.
Yes.
It is an annual grant, right? Not like a 5-year agreement or?
Correct.
It's,
Yeah.
and this is written that if, annulments are easier than divorces, right? So
right.
this is written that if we're unhappy with, if any party says, you know what, this isn't working, we drafted it so that I think it's a 1 year, hey, it just didn't work for us. We need to focus on something else, because until I think this group has figured out exactly how it's going to work, we wanted to make it flexible for communities.
It says a 1-year written notice is what it states. So if we were to sign on now and weren't happy at the end of this first year, we'd have another, so we'd be kind of locked into 2 years, basically, in a sense.
Right, so if in, to your point, if in November, you're feeling like the board's not supporting, right? So then you can say, hey, we're out at the end of next November. And I don't know how that would work because the grant would already have been done. But I think what would happen is you would have provided notice the Joint Powers Board wouldn't have committed, for that next year, they wouldn't commit dollars knowing that you're going to be out.
Sure.
Do we know if Abdi's service has gone down since this has started, or any idea at all?
I haven't heard anything. Dual
Yeah,
transportation?
Yeah.
I see them in Fargo every day. I mean, they must go that way more often than not.
They're mostly medical transports?
I don't know, I just see them there all the time. Several vehicles, not just one.
Brent, what are you talking about?
Abdul, the transport?
Dual transportation out of Pelican here.
I don't know about that.
Shuttle down service.
Oh.
They've been around a while.
Yep.
I would guess probably not affected by this, but who knows if ridership blew up.
I'm just thinking cost per ride, per person, and compared to Uber or Lyft, something like that. I don't know.
What is the cost for the rider? I don't remember. I know you said it.
Yep, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. It is $2, it's based on mileage. So 0 to 5 miles is $2, and then it goes up from there. And right now for 2025, we travel up to 13 miles outside of city limits.
Do you have the demographics of our community that is using it?
Only other than I know that a few people from the nursing home have used it, and so obviously elderly, senior population, and then a few, I don't know their ages, the ones that travel to Fergus and back, I'm not positive.
And I would venture to say that would go up, like you say, with continued advertisement. People understand how it works, what it'll cost them. I think ridership would go up if it was pushed. I don't know that too many are even aware that it's available, to be honest.
I had a conversation with Nick earlier today, and I guess I told him, even if we don't go forward, indirectly, we're still paying for this through state taxes, through county taxes, and this would be another layer of our taxes that we would pay. Council have any more questions or druthers?
I like the service. I just don't know if we're in a position to spend money.
Yeah, with the
with everything
the
that's been
budget
going on here in
unknowns
2
at this
years,
time.
I do like the idea of it, but you can like a lot of things and you can't own it, so. Where are you at, Steve? What do you think?
Taxes are really high. I mean, it's gonna get worse.
So the buses are based out of Pelican, the one for Pelican?
No, based out of Fergus, right?
Right, no, Your Honor and Councilman, they are, right now, they are all based out of Fergus and drive out from there.
And you pick up in the country too?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Your Honor, council member, that's been one of the conversations. One of the other communities is, Perm in particular has said, we might want some buses based here, and Kayla has talked about, there's pros and cons, right? It's great to have it there. You have employees who are able to start and end their day there, but from a maintenance standpoint, there's pros and cons. But ultimately, and the county has said, if we can support that effort, whether it's via using some of our existing space to store a bus so that there can be one located here, that would ultimately be the decision of the JPB to decide, hey, we want a bus located in the community so it can start and end its day here. The county would be supportive of that, but it would ultimately be the decision of the JPB once they dig into the pros and cons.
Council have any other questions? I guess my feeling, I'd be hesitant to move forward at this time. We're going into budget talks, and we don't know what our budget's going to be, and it'll definitely go up again this coming year with construction, and not knowing what the state's going to do with our LGA would be a difficult situation.
agree.
Anyone willing to make a motion to accept this? Anyone willing to make a motion? Hearing none.
Your Honor,
Okay.
council members, we'll keep moving forward. We'll probably reduce that request of the state by that amount. And then as we progress and as things shake out at the legislature, I'm sure they'll be done at the end of this week. So we'll just keep you informed, and then when the city's ready, I'll continue to communicate with Lance on what the status is, and
Okay,
we can go
okay.
from there. Great. Thanks again for your
Okay,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, don't run away. Our next agenda item is
I heard I'll speak.
the next one is item number 6, resolution number 2025-14, Otter Tail County Cannabis Resolution. That was your packet. Lance, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, so the county passed their cannabis ordinance. We had been part of a few of those meetings and things, and thinking that we were going to kind of adopt that ordinance or follow that one rather than create our own. So in doing that, we would need to pass this resolution, basically delegating that registration authority to the county at this time. So we would just kind of follow their ordinance rather than creating our own. So I don't know, I put the county ordinance in the packet. I don't know if you had a chance to look through it. If you have any questions, I know Nick is here with the county as well. He could answer any questions on the county side. Are there any questions or concerns on this?
Chief, do you have any comments or questions? Okay. Council? Nick, go ahead.
Anyone that's interested in opening a retail shop has to be approved by the county?
Quite know the process yet, but it would go to the state first, and then the state contacts the county, and it still would come to the city as well as far as zoning and things to make sure that it's an approved spot, correct?
Your Honor, a council member, I might know even less about this than I do the transportation topic, but I'll try. My understanding is, yes, the state ultimately, it's an application, they apply, and then those applications, once they've been accepted by the state, come to the county says, yes, this meets the minimum requirements of what we've set out through our ordinance, and then to your point, if there is, within a municipality, right, now, you won't have your own in some city. I think Fergus, potentially Perham, adopted their own ordinances. I believe those are the only two. And so they've built specific, zoning into their ordinances, but it would go to the city, but there wouldn't be anything that would necessarily prohibit it in certain zones in ours, because we don't have countywide zoning, of course.
The city has the ability to say it doesn't fit that area, or?
Well, it's very restrictive in the county ordinance as far as, 1,000 feet from the school, 500 from a daycare, 500 from a group home and things like that. It states it in the county ordinance, so. That, and from a public park, and 500 feet from a public park, so I mean, there's not too many places in town that it will work, but.
For all intents and purposes, you're adopting those same restrictions that the county has set countywide. And I think the reason that we've asked for this is because it's not really clear. This is one of those weird things where the state, normally it's like, well, if you're silent, it just means it automatically applies. But in this situation, the way it's written, it doesn't necessarily, I don't know that you can make that assumption. So that's why we've asked municipalities, townships to make clear that you are in fact transferring that, that city's authority to the county for registration and oversight.
As I understand it, by adopting this, it would be less administrative work on our part, correct?
Your Honor, council members, I believe that my understanding is the county takes on all of that administrative
Okay,
work,
right.
including the inspections and all of
Right,
that,
right.
correct? Yeah. And if the legislature goes the way it is this year, none of us are going to see any of the money from it anyway. And so I think the hope was early on that, if there was registrations, those types of things, the belief was, or the promise was that, well, municipalities will share in some of those, but there's increasingly looking likely that the state's going to retain most of those fees.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Mayor, can I ask, what can they sell? I mean, I'm not very smart about this.
Your Honor, council member, it's my understanding that if and when they get these registrations out there, it's all cannabis products. Everything from, and right now, as I understand it, is in beverages, but it's going to be, edibles, leaf, I mean, all cannabis products will be legal to sell. And there's different types of licenses, right? So there's manufacturing type licenses, there's, retail based on the size of the operation. So there's agricultural licenses, so.
Okay.
Council, what's your wishes?
Look at the liquor store, where do they sell? Does that have cannabis or
It's
what?
a lot
So
of it
THC stuff, so.
THC infused, not cannabis,
A little
just the THC.
I'll have to study up on it. Thank you.
Anyone willing to make a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll make a motion to resolve, is it, how do you say, resolved? To have the county manage it.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Item number 7, People Service Water/Wastewater Update. We have Dennis and Cal here, and there was a handout on your desk as you arrived. And this is just an FYI. We aren't looking to make any motions. They're just going to get us up to date. Gentlemen.
Starting off, well 15 is back online. That's been down since last October. We finally got new well in there. It's pushing 400, roughly a little better than 400 gallons a minute. Number 2 high service pump in the water plant decided to take a crap on us and burnt out completely. We got that replaced already, and it's up and running. Rusty water complaints, we've been trying our butts trying to figure out what's going on. We found out that our permanganate system was completely plugged up from the pump all the way through the system into the injection area. After we tore it apart last Friday, we figured out that main reason why the injector system plugged up is because you're trying to push 30 gallons a minute or better through 3/8 holes, 4 3/8 holes. And it can't push that much in a short period of time. After over the last, I don't know how many years that the system's been plugged up, we realized that it's not working properly. We replaced it on Friday. We took a test this afternoon. Filter number 4, we got to do some work on that. We'll probably recharge that one again with just adding more sodium permanganate to that system probably tomorrow, and let it sit for 24 hours, and then that helps regenerate the filtration system in that one filter. Once we do that, hopefully we'll have all 4 filters online, and we'll be actually producing really good clear water again like we were last year. So I know the last few months have been pretty rough for everybody, so.
So it's basically a combination of issues that kind of get that rusty water, and now hopefully that last one that you found just recently, and with the hydrant flushing on Sunday, after that.
Hopefully everything will be taken care of.
Because we saw good results. We've recharged filters 1 and 4. And 4 is just not cooperating, but 1 we saw a big improvement right away. So we think with getting this line, this 70 feet of line was plugged up. So getting that permanganate back to where it's supposed to be going properly, and getting these filters, all 4 online properly, obviously is going to have a big impact on the quality.
So that permanganate, that's essential for the filters to work right.
That's what attaches to the iron, so it never gets into the water system. That permanganate attaches to the raw water, which is then filtered before it goes into the system. It's a binder.
Which one is number 4?
One on the left-hand side, far back,
North, south or north?
West,
west side.
West on which side?
southwest.
Southwest, okay.
Water from well 13, we tested that here a couple weeks ago, and we actually tested 13, 7, 8, 9, and 13, because 15 was still offline. 13 was extremely dirty, cloudy, with iron and manganese buildup. There is a hydrant down there, one of these, hopefully by the end of the week, we can get down there to turn on well 13, open that hydrant, and just flush that well, and hopefully that'll help pull that loose stuff out of there, and hopefully we can bring it back online along with the rest of the system. Any questions on the water side?
Is well 15 on the north side?
Yes.
They were working on it last week. So I was over there watching them. I was fascinated with the equipment. How much is like that cost? I mean,
It's probably every bit of $200,000 per truck.
say that again, like,
$200,000 per truck, if not more.
I asked the guy, I think it was more like $500,000,
okay,
the way that one was loaded up.
wow, that was really something.
So,
Well,
all right, lift station on 3rd Avenue down here. That has been upgraded completely. New panel, new pumps, new rails, and the whole 9 yards. And it works tremendously great. It's something that needed to be done, especially with the new additions going up down that way.
Just in time.
So,
Who done that work? Who furnished the panel?
Mike Nelson Electric supplied everything. I don't know who he went through to get the panel. Clarifier number 1, our first attempt 2 weeks ago or 3 over the last month of April was leveled and replaced a lot of the damaged wear brackets. As of this morning, unfortunately, the main shaft on it broke. So we took that back down this morning, we brought back clarifier number 2 back online, so we can repair number 1 tomorrow, and then take 2 back down offline again when we're done. So unfortunately, we're finding more and more problems, and it's to be expected, unfortunately, because we haven't done proper maintenance in years. And I was part of the problem, unfortunately. So after repairs are done on 1, we go back to 2, monitoring well number 1 for the groundwater system out there at the ponds need to be capped. I did find out a few more, I don't know how much more information you want to add to that. There's supposed to be a lot more work done on that. I'm still looking into that.
Monitoring wells, yeah, so a month or more ago, we entered that agreement with SEH to get this work done, to get us up to the requirements of the permit. So they're working with Elsner now to get a bid on getting that 1 monitoring well sealed, and then we have to drill a new one. And then some other touch-up work to we have eight monitoring wells out there.
Well, 8, yeah, right now we have a total of, well, actually, technically, there's only 7. Not 1 is dry, so that's got to be replaced, it'll be number 10. But 5 and 9, they don't even exist. They're dry as well.
No.
So, I mean, I just did the DMR today, and they did all the testing on the end of April for all the wells, and I don't have any results for 5 and 9. That's why I'm like, where are they coming up with these 2? Now, do those 2 have to be capped? Are those the other 2 that have to be capped?
No, according to them, everything else all the other wells were good, just there would be a little bit of concrete work and things on the standpipes and things to fix, and that's it, so. And that's according to our permit too, so they should be all right.
Okay, moving on, let's see. We figured out how to run draw off of the EQ pond itself rather than pulling off the primary pond, which is saving us in the long run, which should save us a lot on ferric, because we've reduced our ferric use in the last 3 weeks down to roughly 60%. Because we're sitting at 4.4 right now, we were running at between 7 and 7.5.
I mean, I think we're, in some cases, 30 gallons a day
So
on
average, we're down, we use on average anywhere from 95 to 110 now compared to 170 to 180 gallons a day, what we were during the winter months, so.
Ferric is a big deal. It's very expensive, so if they can figure out ways to save on ferric, that's huge. And that's all in the phosphorus, reducing the phosphorus down to the required before it gets discharged, so.
Right.
That'd be huge if we can find some savings there.
Effluent meter at the wastewater plant has been replaced. I've been concerned about that for the last couple of years. I noticed that we get a fluctuation between 80 and 100,000 gallons from what's coming in to going out. Now we're down to between 20 and 30, far closer to an average of what we should be doing. Because technically we'd be considered falsifying documents by not realizing that our flow meters are not calibrated properly. And I have them done every year. So wastewater side is done twice a year. So. Let's see, new head for the AC unit, the split unit in the MCC room, down at the pre-treat building. That was installed last week. It seems to be working just great. It does have a coating on it to help like it last, supposed considerably longer. It's supposed to last, according to them, it should last 3 to 7 years, if not more. But we also have to maintain our exhaust systems and the whole 9 yards throughout the building as well. That will help us a lot. VFD inspection was done a couple weeks ago on all the VFDs throughout the water plant and the wastewater plant. While they were here, they did find IPS pump number 3, the main contactor in the panel itself was single phasing on us. So we decided to shut that one down so we don't have to worry about that failing on us or taking out the motor. It's the last thing we want.
That's been ordered, though.
Yeah, that's already been ordered. I ordered that 3 or 4 weeks ago already. So, any more questions for that on the wastewater side? Anybody wants a tour, just let us know.
Yeah, if you aren't sure what they're talking about this evening, a tour would be good to get you up to par.
Come on down. I'll take you. We can go down there right now if you want. I mean, I'll explain everything.
They can't go yet.
You guys need a break? Let's go.
You have donuts down there.
No, I don't have. I don't need them. Okay.
So in the morning, what are you checking on well 15?
What we go out there, how much we ran, see what we run every morning. If it has been running,
Okay.
how many gallons we get out, and when it is running, how much we're pushing out from down there compared to what we get at the water plant. One thing I have noticed, and we're going to put this in the budget for next year, is I am working on getting a quote for rebuilding all the flow meters on each well and or replacing them. So, because right now, we have found over the last year especially that what we have coming into the water plant, what we have going out of the water plant, there's 2.5 million gallons of water. We're not sure where it's going from or where it's going. So there's a big difference in flows.
Any other questions?
Well, Mayor, I have an interesting fact.
Yes.
Well 15 is 420 feet deep?
Yes.
You probably knew that, but
I know it's over 4.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That's deep.
And actually, to explain what they did, as far as well 15, what they did, the original, I don't know if you still got the pictures available. But originally, when they put it in, there was actually a gap between the screen and the casing, which is roughly about an inch, inch and a half, all the way around. That's why we're sucking sand through it over the last 20 years. So what we did last week is they put a smaller screen in. Actually, the screen that was in there is a 100, what they call a 100 grain screen. We put a 40 grain screen right inside of that existing screen, and we put a 20-foot extension on top of that screen, and then they filled that area with red sand. So we should never suck any sand anymore. Hopefully, we turned around and when they dropped the pump itself, it was originally sitting at 120, 130 feet. Now it's down to 210. So we actually have more volume on top that we can pull rather than try to pull from the bottom. So hopefully it lasts us much longer. We don't have to worry about, and it does have a plastic standpipe, so I shouldn't have to pull that pump for another 10 years.
Any other questions?
Oh, thank you.
If not, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. If you ever want to see the plants, just give us a call.
Yeah, I would like to sometime. Just call you, Dennis.
What's that?
I'll call you and then,
Yeah, just give me a call.
All right.
We'll
Thank
give you a tour.
Okay, item number 8, criminal history ordinance 202.06, 202.07, and 202.08. We have Chief Quaintance here this evening to speak to that. And also on the desk, your desk was a summary of April 2025 Police Department report. Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. I'll extend an invitation if you ever want to sit in the back of the squad car. Come on out. I'll probably remember to let you out. Just in case. Sorry. So you've got the summary from the last month. I did not get it done on time, so that's why it wasn't in your packet. Nothing alarming on there, so go ahead and look through it at your leisure. We have 3 ordinances. We touched base on them last month. It's just more ordinances that we need to have in place. 202.06, again, they're all in your packet. Basically, I'm going to summarize it that it's establishing some definitions and procedures regarding criminal histories. Again, we're required to have that as part of the police. We need an in-city ordinance for the police department to be able to do them. 202.07, you're designating the PD to do the crim histories, and it clarifies in there who we can do the crim histories on as far as what people. And then 202.08, again designating the police department to do them, and it clarifies under what circumstances we do them as far as like for licensing purposes. So again, pretty much boilerplate language. We took a few things out that really didn't apply because underneath like the licensing one, there's a whole series of different licenses that we're authorized to do crim histories for, but we don't do those licenses here. So until we do them, we took the language out. So just looking for, I think, action on those 3 ordinances. Any questions on them? Like I say, they're pretty much boilerplate.
Any questions?
In fact, I would say we didn't add anything. We took stuff out that didn't apply, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the newly verbiaged ordinances, 202.06, 202.07, and 202.08.
I'll second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried.
And then one last topic, I know it's not in the agenda, but since I'm standing here, I thought I would mention it. The mayor and I have talked about this. I would ask the council to entertain the idea at some point of us having a work session so that we can sit down and have a conversation on enforcement of ordinances. Specifically, the one that usually comes up is things like nuisance ordinances. We've started that process, and I think there's some value in understanding the process, but also for us to understand your expectation as well and the limitations of the process. So just so we're all on the same page. So just ask for you to consider scheduling a work session at some point, whether it's after a regular meeting or however you decide to do it. So.
Do you and Lance want to get together and then throw some dates out to us and see what works?
Sure. Yep.
Why don't you do that?
Yep. It'll probably, at this point, it probably won't be until June, so.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Anything for the chief?
Just parking 35 incidents. Could you tell me what that is, where?
So, trying to remember.
Are those warnings, or are they?
There were warnings issued and citations issued. I was actually with the officer when those were, we were doing FTO, so I was actually in the car when those were getting issued. I'm trying to recall the infractions. I will tell you the practice that I've encouraged with the officers is we go out and we give a warning today. Yeah. And if we come back to, I mean, we don't have to give a warning, right? We could just slap a citation on there. But in fact, for the most part, the officers issued warnings, and then the next day when they come back, if the vehicle is still sitting there with the parking warning still there, or worse yet, if it's still sitting there and the warning's gone, we issued a citation. Mm-hmm. So gave people an opportunity to fix the problem, but I would say, well, I'm going to guess probably 2/3 of those are warnings, probably a third of them, because a lot of times behaviors do get fixed off of the warning. But I can also tell you, having rode around with that officer when those were being issued, there was a lot of behavior that didn't get fixed. So citations were issued, and then behavior changed. So.
Is it a specific area that is a problem?
Nope, it's just around town. I can tell you, down by the roundabouts, we've got people parking in the hashed area. It's a no parking area. We have people parking in front of fire hydrants. We have people parking in front of driveways. I mean, it's just all over town. We have vehicles parked on the road that shouldn't be on the road because they aren't current tabs, and which is a violation of state statute. So, like I say, the officers are out looking for, all sorts of violations, and you could say it's a low hanging fruit, but at the same time, if we fix those behaviors, we discourage other behavior. So,
I can attest that I call it the turn lane where the hashes are at the roundabout. The extent to which the officer goes to correct the problem rather than leave paper on the car is pretty impressive. I witnessed it personally, and it was more than above and beyond before just a ticket was written.
Good.
I assume you were inside the establishment when he came in.
Yeah. And he was a big hit.
I think Sam actually called off a bingo number for the bingo person. So.
Yep. And then had to entertain pictures and everything else with tables
and I would agree 100%. He definitely went above and beyond because that's the kind of officer he is. I probably would have issued the citation and moved on. So, but yeah, they're trying to be fair and working with people. So.
One more, Chief.
Yeah.
The black windshields that I can't see through, I see more and more of those every week. So what's happening with that? I mean.
In the last year, I know we've given plenty of warnings on it, and we've given, I won't say plenty, we've given several citations on it. We've got officers out testing the tint on the windshield, which is a huge problem, but also the front two windows.
Yeah.
Statute goes beyond that, but there's a lot of times you'll see the windows, the next row of windows, so that, you know, the packed passengers, technically, those shouldn't be tinted either, or not tinted as much as they are. But those are commonly sold wrong. So we're kind of just like, I've told the officers, you do what you want, because statute's what statute is. But I'm like, windshields and the driver and the front passenger windows, we need to make sure we're enforcing what state statute is, so. So, yeah, they're out doing it. I've been with when they've written them, so, but we've given a lot of warnings. Like I say, we've got officers asking to scan people's. So all of our squads now have tint meters in them, so they're able to do it.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll set up that work session. We can ask all sorts of questions, right?
Give you an answer. Thank you.
Item number 9, tax exempt municipal bond letter, which was in your packet. Lance, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, this is a letter that the League of Minnesota Cities crafted. They sent out to every city in the 7th Congressional District, which we are one of them, just asking our support on this letter. Basically, there's talk in the federal government apparently to remove the federal tax exempt status of municipal bonds, which would have an effect on our financing and things for, you know, infrastructure projects, all that kind of stuff. So just want your approval on signing up or having our city be a part of this letter sent to Michelle Fischbach.
Is there a motion?
I don't really understand it, but
Well, it'll cost us less. It'll save us money
Yeah.
if we help them,
In a nutshell.
or should.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Motion. We have a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 10, temporary on-sale liquor license, FV Enterprises, July 11th, 2025, and I believe that's Pelican Fest weekend.
Yes.
Danielle?
I received a temporary on-sale application for FV Enterprises, which does business as Buck's Mill Brewing, and they would like to set up, I don't know if it says on here. Oh, yes. In Sharon Park, on July 11th, which is for Pelican Fest. So it's all through Pelican Fest. Pelican Fest is the one that contacted them to see if they'd be interested, and then they filled out the application. This is, I think last year was the first year we ever actually had a mobile truck come to any of our events. So I'm just looking for approval. Any questions?
Is that area fenced off then?
Doesn't have to be.
There, yeah, we have no, so when there used to be like street dances and stuff, we required that it be fenced off, and they have hired security. But when looking into that, that's not a state statute, it's not in our ordinance. So I'm not certain where that language came from, if that was just something that council decided on at that time, I'm not certain. But Todd left already, but I did talk to him about this. He doesn't see any concerns with it. And there's lots of communities that have these trucks come into their cities for festivals, and they don't
Right.
have the fences and all that stuff.
I think that fence thing was born when the street dance was moved up to the corner on the South Light, you know, when it was.
Correct.
The old South Light, if
Yeah.
you will. That was kind of born then, not to keep traffic away. Not so much for people. And then Todd, we discussed it with Todd
Yeah,
several
geez.
times. He's like,
Doesn't help
you don't
us.
need any of that.
Okay. All right.
I make a motion, for permission or whatever you're looking for.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, second, discussion. How does that, right now we have ordinance, you can't drink or smoke in the park. How does this collide
We're
with that?
currently, the ordinance committee is currently rewriting the ordinances, and we're working on the liquor one right now, and the new ordinance that we'll be bringing to council will not have, the language that'll be tied to it is with a community festival, it is allowed, or a community event.
Comes as an umbrella under the temporary license. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Being we're talking about liquor, let's go to item number 17.
Okay.
Riverview Place liquor license. Danielle?
Yep, so I was contacted by Andrew Johnson from Riverview Place. We've kind of been talking on and off for a while, but, just yesterday, he got the application and filled it out. We have almost all the paperwork here. I'm still waiting for a copy of his restaurant license and, the insurance. I've been dealing with the insurance company to make sure that we get the correct verbiage. So I would just like to go ahead and approve this license, pending the completion of it or the rest of the information. But he's applying for a 3-2 on sale and wine on sale license. So it's the same license that like the Muddy Moose used to have. So,
That's his building by the river then? Is that what he's talking about?
yep.
And accompanying these licenses, they have to sell food.
Yeah, that's all. He has like seating for 25 people is one of the questions. Yeah, no Sunday license. He's not going with a Sunday license, so. But yeah, then once we approve it, then I get all the information, then I send it to the state, because then they have to approve it. And then he'll be inspected before it's approved.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and move forward with the liquor license pending all the satisfactory paperwork is turned into you.
Perfect.
I'll second that one, too.
We have a motion and second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 11, Otter Tail Power Outdoor Lighting Agreement, and that was in our packet. Lance, do you want to speak to that, please?
Yes, this is basically in addition to what we have already in place. It's just, so we have this big agreement with the 59108 project and the lighting agreement with Otter Tail Power. This just includes, there's the 5 lights that are not part of the project, basically. So on West Mill, let me get to a better. West Mill, there's 2 lights, and then on First Street Northwest, there are 3. So they are not part of the project, so those are still the old style lights that are the dim LEDs that we had all around town. They have to bury some new wire. There's some new feed points all because of the project. So it just makes sense to replace these 5 and have everything the same all throughout town here. So that's basically what this agreement is to add these 5 lights to the master agreement with the 59108 project, so.
You say they have feed points that they can do it along with this project?
Yep, no matter if you replace the lights or not, they have to do some rewiring, so, yeah.
So we'll get
And
it
the
done
feed
now.
points have changed a little bit with the project, so.
I have a question. You know, when we were talking about lighting, we wanted lighting that didn't shoot up into the sky, but a lot of those on the south side do that. Right?
Which ones?
Oh. Like from the co-op going south, they're.
Broadway. Right on
Yeah,
Broadway.
yeah.
Guess I haven't even noticed, but.
Not up after dark, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I just thought we wanted ones that went down. Okay. I don't know what these are, but.
Are they the new fixtures, the new?
Yeah, they look new.
There shouldn't be anything shooting up in the air, I guess.
Well, okay, I'll take another look.
Yeah.
It's pretty late now.
Yeah, right, that's what I mean.
Okay.
How come in December?
Council?
I'd say move forward if they have the access points available. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 12, Industrial Park Drive discussion. There was nothing in our packet about that, so Lance is going to explain the situation.
Is that the Jerry Henry one?
Yep, this is the lot right next to Henry's, yes. So we have another person interested in this lot, and it is still in the previous owner's name, and so Kreckelbergs will not move forward with the transferring or the quitclaim deed and transferring recording fees and things. They won't do that until they get their money, so they won't draft a quitclaim deed or anything. So they've reached out to the owner, and he has not done anything. Now, this has been a couple months in process of trying to get this back. Just wondering if the council is all right with just the city paying the fee of $302.65 to get the quitclaim deed drawn up, get the transferring all the fees and things taken care of, so we can move forward with getting this lot back in the city's name, so we can move forward with another possible buyer.
Is that fee in any way accessible to?
Well, the current owner has no other property, so I
Has
don't
no
think we can
property.
assess it, but we will certainly bill it to them and try and get it after the fact. We certainly don't want to set the precedence of just,
Did you
if someone
say that-
doesn't pay it, we do it, but I think moving forward of these lots, we have more of a vetting process. We'll probably require maybe a fee up front,
Like a deposit.
a deposit of some
something.
sort.
Did you say you had another interested party?
Yes.
There is, yeah.
Have we resolved that, so we don't ever have to listen to that easement discussion again? Has that been resolved?
That's been discussed at Planning Commission, and the potential buyer will work with Mr. Henry on that, the way it sounds, so,
Okay.
Like Torres did?
well,
You know, I don't want to get us in that situation again. I mean, I believe what Jerry told us was true. You know, he had a handshake deal from decades ago, and it was taken from him, basically, the usage. So I think before we move forward with anybody else, that issue gets settled.
I don't think the person that wants the property will take it if we do that. Because what Jerry has marked out is a lot of the property.
Well, not necessarily for him, but for easement.
You're right. It goes where the interested party wants to build. So the interested party has said, please, city, stay out of it. I'll work it out with Jerry.
Okay.
And this is the same person that was at planning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're looking for a motion to pay that amount of what, Lance?
$302.65 is what the fees would be to get that transferred back.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion. A question, why would they ever expect the former property owner to pay that?
Well,
That was just a question.
everybody
Either
else
here nor
has
there.
until this one.
Huh?
I mean, everybody else has always paid the transfer back to the city fee.
But if they lost the property, why would they pay? Okay. We're beyond
We're
that.
living and learning, so.
What I've experienced in the past is that whoever's taking it back pays for the fee.
Yeah, but we paid for it, and their agreement says that they'll pay it. So that's the
If
agreement
they
that
don't,
is
if they
signed.
don't honor the, yeah.
Yeah.
But they probably won't, you're right, but
Yeah.
you gotta bill it and try it that way.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Item number 14, administrator report. Lance?
All right, since the last meeting, attended a department head meeting, attended an ordinance committee meeting, attended the Minnesota City County Management Association annual meeting in Brainerd, met with the mayor along with Greg and Dennis of People Service and worked on updating the significant industrial user agreement with West Central Turkeys. We also worked on the chloride management plan and the phosphorus management plan, the requirements of the new permit, and we submitted both of them to the state to satisfy those permit requirements. Attended the monthly municipal solar cohort meeting put on by West Central Initiative. Met with Aaron Meyer of MRWA and Dan Disrud and Luke Pickman of the Minnesota Department of Health about the wellhead protection plan. Worked with SEH on the monitoring wells at the lagoons. Attended the 59108 construction meeting along with the public meeting at the library. Attended the City Leaders Networking Luncheon at Lakes Country Service Cooperative in Fergus Falls, and attended an information session about emerald ash borer mitigation put on by the Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lance. Item number 15, mayor report, just a few items. Attended 2 ordinance meetings here at City Hall on the 30th of April and also the 7th of May. Conducted a complete streets public meeting at the library on May 1st. Also attended 2 staff meetings here at City Hall. Attended emergency management meeting here at City Hall. Chloride meeting with People Service and Administrator Roysum. Also met with Administrator Roysum yesterday to plan the agenda for this evening's City Council meeting. Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing no other business or motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All the same? Meeting adjourned.
It's on your address.
What if you have to call
I kept looking, wondering if anybody's on there, but.
Well, you know what, the snowplow, you know,
Took out your number.
the number.